That'd be great. Awesome. Thank you, Governor. Really do appreciate that. We'll invite you to take a seat here up at the panel. If we have time, we'll have a few questions for you. So next, if you'll help me welcome up here to the microphone our Director of the State Department of Agriculture, Chanel Tewalt.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome. Braden and the governor did so well laying out things, and I'm going to add just a couple more points, but make it quick because I'm the sandwich, or I'm the middle of the sandwich, and you'd rather hear from your new Farm Bureau president. I want to talk about the importance of ag. I'm preaching to the choir, but you have to say it. Ag and food processing in the state of Idaho contribute $26 billion to this economy. There is no stronger or more important industry in the state of Idaho. So this is such an important topic. I applaud the Farm Bureau, American Farmland Trust, Anna in our shop for taking on this topic. Braden knows how reticent I was to talk about it because it's incredibly difficult. There are no perfect, easy answers to this, which is why you should talk about it. As massive and productive and incredible as agriculture is in Idaho, it is facing massive headwinds in terms of environmental factors, the markets. I mean, you name it, we are facing some of the biggest food inflation we have had in 50 years. That doesn't mean that farmers are getting any more of that ag dollar, though. Every dollar spent on food, farmers aren't getting more of it. And at the same time, and the governor talked about some of our work on international markets, and the lieutenant governor and I were in Vietnam. At the same time that we have these domestic headwinds, China is building an industry that everybody should be looking at. We heard it in the potato side. They are directly building an industry to outcompete American agriculture. We have to figure out these challenging things here at home. I know Braden wanted me to talk just briefly about the Department of Ag's role in some of this, and some of it is limited and some of it is really critically important. Unfortunately, I can't make it rain. You don't want me to fix your markets, but what we can do regularly is look at regulatory reform. And it is an incredibly boring thing, but it is one of the most pernicious things that affects a farmer's bottom line is regulatory outcomes, regulatory intent, right, and the way that we do our job. And I was fortunate enough to talk to a potato group about a month ago. In fact, Sandy and I talked about following up on those discussions about regulatory reforms that we're making at the department all the time, I hope. A boring one, but an important one. Almost every farm is impacted by folks who have a pesticide license, and it is an incredibly draconian method of getting a license because it's largely controlled by the federal government. Right now, in 10 years, we're going to make you have 5 different interactions with the Department of Agriculture on licensing. We're going to decrease that to 2. So you're going to deal with us less than half as much, right? Nobody wants to see us. Nobody wants to see us any more than you have to. And these are boring things, but they're important. And those are the ways that we can take care sometimes or help with regulatory friction. This idea of death by 1,000 paper cuts. And then you have more important conversations here. And I told Braden, as we've talked about this for many months, and Zach and the rest of the team at the Farm Bureau, that I hope when people come into a conversation like this, they don't treat it like a spectator sport, right? This isn't a Pollyanna discussion. It is hard, difficult trade-offs and making actual firm decisions. And not making a decision is a decision, right? And so I applaud the group here for bringing in folks who may say something that we don't agree with because it's important. You need to get it out. You need to understand that there are trade-offs. There are a lot of legislators in the room. I applaud them for coming today because Idahoans, I mean, legislators have this Herculean task in front of them to weigh all the things that we think are important in Idaho, education and transportation and of course agriculture and all these things that we want. And at the end of the day, they also have to find a way to balance out the dollars and cents of it. So when we ask legislators for something, when we ask policymakers for something, I hope that folks take an opportunity like this to be more well-informed, to understand that if you're asking for something, there is an extreme trade-off in some cases, and that's what we're going to talk about. And the last thing I'll leave you with before we turn it over to our new president is to say it's not a spectator sport. The best thing you can do is show up in your community first, and probably in the State House last. And I applaud folks. I know the Kirkhams are here somewhere, and I say this as often as I can. If you guys have ever been to the Canyon County 4-H and FFA sale in the summer, the Kirkham company shows up first. They almost always buy the first animal, and they buy the last animal. And if you're not paying attention, you may not know that, but it is folks who regularly show up to build their community, to show up for their neighbors, and that's where this conversation starts first. So thanks a bunch for having us. I know our team is here for a little bit if anyone has questions, or if, like Sandy, you want to talk about some regulatory thing after this. Thanks a bunch.